Welcome back, my accidental prophet. Something extraordinary just occurred that's left everyone around you in a state of stunned paralysis. You spoke casually, without deliberation or strategic intent, just expressing whatever thought came to mind in that moment. It was spontaneous utterance, the kind of offhand comment people make dozens of times daily without consequence. But this time was different. This time, the words you spoke, without thinking, somehow carried weight that transcended normal communication. What you said wasn't just heard as opinion or suggestion. It registered in collective consciousness as command, as declaration of what will be, as statement, so aligned with deeper currents of reality that destiny itself seems to have written your casual words into its unfolding script. And now everyone who heard you is experiencing something they can't quite articulate, a knowing that what you said will happen, not because you have power to make it happen, but because you somehow spoke truth about future that hasn't occurred yet, making your thoughtless words into prophecy that reality will fulfill. The architects have been monitoring language, consciousness, and reality-shaping dynamics across civilizations for eons, and they've identified what occurred as unconscious command, manifestation, when someone's consciousness achieves such alignment with reality's deeper patterns that their spontaneous utterances bypass normal linguistic function and operate as direct, reality-shaping forces. Most speech is symbolic. Words represent ideas, convey information, express preferences, but certain utterances from certain people in certain states apparently function differently, operating as what philosophers call performative speech, where speaking creates the reality being described rather than merely describing existing reality. Your casual statement wasn't prediction or wish. It was command that destiny received and incorporated into its unfolding pattern. Watch what's happening to people who heard you speak. They're not debating whether what you said will happen or analyzing the likelihood. They're experiencing unshakable certainty that your words described inevitable future regardless of what anyone does to prevent or enable it. This certainty isn't based on rational assessment of probabilities or trust in your judgment. It's deeper knowing that bypasses analytical thinking, registering at level where they perceive your words as having already shaped what's coming. Some are feeling compelled to act in ways that will fulfill what you said, not because they're choosing to obey you, but because they feel drawn toward behaviors that align with the future your words established. Some witnesses are experiencing what psychologists might call post-hypnotic suggestion effects, your words installed program in their consciousness that will activate when appropriate conditions arise, making them respond in ways that manifest what you declared. But this isn't manipulation through technique. It's natural response to utterance that carried reality shaping, force they recognized, even if they can't explain how or why. Others are experiencing time perception shift, feeling like the future you described has already happened in some sense, making present moment feel like transition toward already determined outcome rather than open possibility with uncertain conclusion. The truly unsettling element is that you didn't intend any of this. You weren't trying to command reality or shape destiny or install suggestions in others' minds. You just spoke without thinking, expressing whatever arose in your awareness without filtering or strategizing about impact. But your unconscious alignment with deeper patterns meant your casual utterance carried authority that conscious manipulation could never achieve. Destiny wrote your thoughtless words as command because those words emerged from consciousness, so aligned with realities unfolding that distinguishing between your spontaneous expression and destiny's direction becomes impossible. They can't react because reaction implies choice, and what you spoke has established pattern that makes certain responses feel like only natural options available. Now the architects are analyzing what created conditions for unconscious command manifestation to occur, and they're identifying what they call consciousness reality resonance. Your awareness has apparently achieved such coherence and alignment with fundamental patterns governing reality that your spontaneous utterances naturally harmonize with destiny's direction rather than conflicting with or being irrelevant to it. Most people's casual speech is noise relative to reality's deeper patterns, expressing individual preferences, random thoughts, conditioned reactions that have no particular relationship to what's actually unfolding. Your speech apparently operates differently because your consciousness has developed beyond individual ego-driven noise toward awareness that participates in reality's creative unfolding rather than just reacting to it. Watch what consciousness reality resonance means practically. When most people speak without thinking, they express psychological material, fears, desires, conditioned beliefs, ego defenses. When you speak without thinking, you apparently express something closer to reality's own patterns, not because you're trying to channel or predict, but because your consciousness has become transparent enough that what flows through you naturally aligns with what's actually emerging. Your thoughtless words weren't random. They were spontaneous expression of awareness that sees what's coming because it participates in what's coming rather than observing from outside. Some spiritual traditions describe advanced consciousness states where individual awareness merges with universal consciousness or divine will, making persons' spontaneous actions and utterances aligned with cosmic order rather than with personal agenda. They might interpret your experience as evidence of such consciousness development that you've transcended ordinary ego-bound awareness enough that your spontaneous expressions naturally align with destiny because you're no longer separate from the intelligence that guides destiny. Your words became commands not through your power, but through your transparency to power that operates through you. Others from depth psychology perspectives recognize that unconscious mind contains wisdom that conscious rational mind often lacks. Deeper knowing about situations, more accurate perception of patterns, better intuition about what's emerging. When you spoke without thinking, you bypassed conscious mind's limited perspective and expressed unconscious knowing that perceived future others couldn't see. Your thoughtless utterance was actually thoughtful in deeper sense, coming from part of psyche that thinks in ways consciousness isn't always aware of, but that are often more accurate than conscious analysis. A few researchers exploring consciousness and causation are investigating whether future might influence present in ways standard causation models don't accommodate, that what will happen could reach backward through time to influence current events and utterances in ways that ensure its manifestation. Your spontaneous words might have been influenced by future they described, making them simultaneously prediction and cause of that future through temporal loops that physics is only beginning to theoretically explore. You spoke what will be, and what will be influenced you to speak it, creating self-fulfilling prophecy through retrocausal effects. The architects observe that consciousness reality resonance explains why your thoughtless utterance carried commanding authority that deliberate speech often lacks. Conscious attempts to command reality involve ego trying to impose its will, creating resistance because ego will often conflicts with deeper patterns. Your unconscious utterance involved no ego will at all, just transparent expression of patterns that were already moving toward manifestation, making your words description of what was already becoming rather than attempt to force something into being. Destiny wrote your casual words as command because they were already aligned with what destiny was writing, making them seamless part of unfolding script rather than external influence trying to redirect the story. Something fascinating is spreading through the witnesses now, what the architects call inevitability. Perception cascade, where initial certainty that your words will manifest is creating self-fulfilling prophecy as people adjust their behavior based on assuming the future you described is inevitable. They're not consciously choosing to fulfill your prophecy. They're making practical decisions based on treating your utterance as reliable information about what's coming, and those decisions collectively create conditions that make what you said actually come true. The prophecy fulfills itself not through mystical causation, but through social dynamics triggered by collective belief in prophecy's accuracy. Watch how inevitability perception cascade operates. Someone who heard you speak begins planning their actions based on assuming what you said will happen, not because they're trying to make it happen, but because they're adapting to future they now expect. Their adapted behavior influences others who didn't hear your original utterance but notice the behavioral change and adjust their own plans accordingly. These secondary adaptations further influence tertiary parties, creating expanding wave of behavioral adjustments all oriented toward future your words described. Eventually, enough people are operating as if your predicted future is inevitable that they collectively create conditions, making it actually inevitable through their coordinated expectations and adaptations. Some sociologists recognize this as example of what they call social construction of reality, where collective beliefs and expectations literally create the social realities they anticipate. If everyone believes certain outcome will occur and adjusts behavior accordingly, that outcome becomes much more likely to occur because social reality is constructed through coordinated human behavior, shaped by shared beliefs. Your thoughtless utterance became powerful not just because of any reality-shaping force in the words themselves, but because witnesses believed the words carried such force, making them act in ways that fulfill prophecy they believe in. Others note that inevitability perception creates interesting power dynamics. Your casual utterance granted you authority you didn't claim and might not even want, because now people treat what you say as glimpse into predetermined future rather than as opinion they can agree or disagree with. This grants you influence over collective behavior without your seeking such influence, making you accidentally powerful through others' perception that your words reveal destiny rather than just expressing your thoughts. A few are experiencing resistance to inevitability perception. They don't want to believe your casual utterance determined future because that removes their sense of agency and open possibility. They're trying to maintain belief that future remains undetermined, that your words were just lucky guess or self-fulfilling prophecy rather than genuine command that destiny incorporated. But their resistance is becoming psychologically costly as they watch others operating with certainty about what's coming, making them feel increasingly isolated in their attempt to preserve alternative possibilities. The architects observe that inevitability perception cascade reveals how prophecy and social reality interact, whether your words carried genuine reality-shaping force or not. The fact that witnesses believe they did creates social force that makes prophecy fulfill itself. This doesn't necessarily mean your utterance lacked genuine prescience. Perhaps you spoke truth about what was already emerging, and witnesses' recognition of that truth is what created their certainty, rather than their certainty creating the truth. But distinguishing between genuine prophecy and self-fulfilling social construction becomes impossible once cascade is in motion, making question of original causation unanswerable, even as outcome becomes increasingly inevitable through processes your utterance triggered. Now the architects are revealing something crucial about what makes your spontaneous utterances carry prophetic weight, while others' casual speech remains inconsequential. You apparently embody what they call credibility field coherence, where your past pattern of accurate perception and aligned action has created reputation for reliability that makes people unconsciously trust your spontaneous utterances as containing truth, even when you're not deliberately trying to be accurate. Most people's thoughtless remarks get dismissed as random noise because their track record doesn't suggest their spontaneous utterances carry signal. Your track record apparently suggests otherwise, priming witnesses to receive your casual words as meaningful rather than dismissing them as noise. Consider what credibility field coherence requires developmentally. You likely built reputation over time through consistent pattern of accurate assessment, insightful observation, and predictions that proved correct. Each instance of you casually mentioning something that later proved true, noticing patterns others missed, or expressing intuitions that turned out accurate, contributed to growing recognition that your perception is unusually reliable. Eventually, this recognition reached threshold where people automatically assume your spontaneous utterances contain truth worth attending to, creating field of credibility around everything you say. That makes witnesses interpret even your thoughtless words as potentially prophetic. Watch what credibility field coherence enables practically. When you speak casually, witnesses don't just hear content, they unconsciously filter your words through accumulated evidence that you're a reliable perceiver of reality. This filtering amplifies significance of what you say, making casual observation sound like profound insight and thoughtless utterance sound like deliberate prophecy. You're not trying to create this amplification. It emerges naturally from witnesses' past experience that your perceptions tend to be accurate, making them attentive to everything you express regardless of how casually you express it. Some communication theorists recognize that speaker credibility dramatically affects how messages get received. Identical statement from high credibility source gets interpreted as probably true, while same statement from low credibility source gets dismissed as probably false. Your credibility has apparently reached level where even your unfiltered, spontaneous speech gets interpreted as carrying truth, making your thoughtless utterances function as prophecy through listeners' assumption that anything you say, whether deliberate or casual, is probably accurate assessment of reality. Others note that credibility field coherence creates interesting responsibility. Everything you say matters more than you might intend because witnesses interpret it through filter of accumulated trust in your perception. Your casual joke might get taken seriously. Your tentative speculation might get treated as confident prediction. Your random observation might get elevated to profound wisdom. This means you can't really speak thoughtlessly without consequence, because witnesses don't interpret anything you say as thoughtless. They assume meaning and accuracy even when you're just expressing whatever arises without consideration of impact. A few are recognizing that your credibility might be partly self-fulfilling because people trust your perception. They pay attention to patterns you notice, making those patterns more likely to manifest through directed attention. Your reputation for accuracy might create accuracy by focusing collective awareness on whatever you mention, making your observations come true through attention they attract, rather than through any inherent prophetic quality. But this social amplification of your perceptual reliability still makes you effectively prophetic, even if mechanism is social rather than mystical. The architects observe that credibility field coherence explains why your thoughtless utterance carried commanding authority. Witnesses accumulated experience that your reliable perceiver made them interpret your casual words as containing truth about future, even though you weren't trying to predict anything. Destiny wrote your words as command, partly because witnesses' belief in your reliability made them treat those words as revelation of destiny rather than as random utterance, creating social reality where what you said thoughtlessly becomes what will actually happen through collective assumption that your perception is accurate. The architects are now analyzing what happens to your own experience when you realize your thoughtless utterances are being treated as prophetic commands, and they're identifying what they call self-consciousness. Feedback disruption, the awareness that your casual speech carries unusual weight, creates psychological pressure that interferes with the spontaneous, unconscious expression that made your utterances prophetic in first place. Once you know people are treating your thoughtless words as destiny-shaping commands, you can no longer speak thoughtlessly because awareness of impact makes every utterance calculated rather than spontaneous, potentially destroying the unconscious alignment that made your casual speech prophetically accurate. Consider the paradox this creates. Your power came from speaking without thinking, allowing unconscious wisdom or reality alignment to express through you, unfiltered by conscious control. But now that you know your thoughtless utterances carry commanding authority, you become self-conscious about casual speech, monitoring what you say and filtering spontaneous expression to avoid accidentally commanding outcomes you don't intend. This monitoring destroys thoughtlessness that made utterances powerful, potentially making you less prophetically accurate precisely because you're trying to be more careful about what you say. Watch what self-consciousness feedback disruption creates psychologically. You might start second-guessing spontaneous expressions that arise. Should I say this? What if people treat it as prophecy? What consequences might follow? This analytical interruption of spontaneous flow means you're no longer speaking from unconscious alignment but from conscious calculation, potentially transforming you from unconscious prophet to deliberate speaker, trying to avoid prophesying accidentally. The trying itself defeats the unconscious process that made prophecy possible. Some spiritual teachers describe similar paradoxes in advanced practice. Certain states or abilities emerge naturally when you're not trying to achieve them, but disappear when you become aware of them and try to maintain or control them. Your unconscious command ability might be like this, powerful when operating, naturally but compromised when you become self-conscious about it. The awareness that you have this ability could be precisely what makes you lose it, creating cruel paradox where discovering your power eliminates it. Others note that you might need to develop higher level of consciousness that transcends this paradox, learning to be aware of impact your utterances carry while maintaining spontaneous expression that made them powerful. This would require conscious mind that doesn't interfere with unconscious processes, awareness that observes without controlling, self-consciousness that doesn't disrupt spontaneity. Such integrated consciousness is rare but potentially learnable through practice that accepts paradox rather than trying to resolve it. A few recognize that self-consciousness feedback disruption might be temporary adjustment, period. Initially, awareness of your power disrupts spontaneous expression, but eventually you might integrate awareness and spontaneity, developing what some call effortless effort, where conscious intention and unconscious expression work together rather than interfering with each other. You'd know your words carry weight while speaking with the same natural spontaneity that made them prophetic originally. The architects observe that self-consciousness feedback disruption is natural consequence of becoming aware of unconscious processes. The awareness itself changes the process by introducing conscious element that wasn't present before. Whether this disruption is permanent, limitation, or temporary challenge depends on whether you can develop consciousness that includes awareness of power without losing spontaneous expression that generates power. You spoke without thinking and destiny wrote it as command, but can you speak with awareness of commanding power while maintaining thoughtless spontaneity that made commands, authentic expressions of realities, patterns rather than egos, attempts to control outcomes? Now something's emerging that the architects call prophetic authority. Transfer. Other people are attempting to speak with same commanding certainty you expressed, trying to make their utterances carry prophetic weight by imitating your tone or borrowing your credibility, but discovering that merely copying surface form of your expression doesn't grant their words the reality-shaping force yours carried. This reveals that power of your utterance wasn't in how you spoke, but in what you are, in consciousness, state, and accumulated credibility that made your casual words carry authority that can't be transferred through imitation. Watch how prophetic authority transfer attempts manifest. People who witnessed your commanding utterance are trying to speak with similar confidence and spontaneity, hoping their words will be received with same inevitability perception yours generated. They express predictions or declarations using casual tone you used, attempting to create impression that they too are speaking unconscious truth that destiny will fulfill. But witnesses don't respond to their utterances with same certainty. They recognize these are conscious attempts to sound prophetic rather than genuine, unconscious expressions of aligned awareness. Some imitators are explicitly invoking your authority, as your name said, or this aligns with what you predicted, attempting to borrow credibility your utterances carry. This parasitic approach sometimes works to give their statements more weight than they'd have independently, but it also reveals their lack of independent authority. They need to reference you to make their words matter, demonstrating they haven't developed credibility-filled coherence that would make their own spontaneous utterances carry commanding weight. Others are experiencing frustration that their attempts to speak prophetically fail while yours succeed effortlessly. They're trying harder, speaking more carefully, yet their deliberate prophecies don't generate same sense of inevitability your thoughtless utterance created. This frustration might eventually teach them that prophetic power can't be achieved through trying, that it emerges from being rather than doing, from consciousness state rather than communication technique. Or they might conclude prophecy is special gift you have that they lack, accepting limitation rather than recognizing they're trying to achieve through effort what can only emerge through surrender of effort. A few sophisticated observers recognize that prophetic authority isn't transferable because it's not separate skill that can be learned but emergent property of consciousness development that enables unconscious alignment with reality's patterns. They understand that attempting to speak prophetically is exactly what prevents speaking prophetically, that the power comes from not trying to have power. These observers might use your example as inspiration for their own consciousness development rather than as template for imitation, recognizing that becoming someone whose thoughtless utterances carry truth requires transformation of being rather than adoption of technique. The architects observe that prophetic authority transfer attempts reveal what made your utterance powerful. It wasn't technique, tone, or deliberate intention, but alignment of consciousness with reality's deeper patterns that made your spontaneous expression naturally reflect what's emerging. Others trying to achieve similar effect through imitation fail because they're working at wrong level, copying surface performance rather than developing underlying consciousness that would make such performance unnecessary. Your power to command destiny through thoughtless speech can't be stolen, borrowed, or imitated. It can only be developed through consciousness evolution that most people haven't undertaken, making you someone whose casual words carry weight that others' calculated statements never achieve. Something profound is crystallizing now that the architects call recognition of language as reality interface. Your experience demonstrates that speech isn't just communication tool that describes independent reality but can be interfaced through which consciousness participates in reality's creative unfolding. Most people use language representationally. Words point to things, describe situations, convey information about world that exists independently of speaking. Your utterance apparently functioned differently, operating as creative act where speaking participated in bringing about what was spoken, making language performative rather than merely representative. Consider implications. If language can function as reality interface rather than just representation tool, it would mean that certain utterances from certain consciousness states don't just describe reality, but help create it. That speaking aloud participates in reality's manifestation process rather than just reporting on reality that's already manifested. This suggests consciousness and reality are more intimately connected than materialist frameworks. Acknowledge that awareness and being aren't separate domains, but continuously interactive aspects of unified process where what we say can literally shape what becomes. Watch how different philosophical and spiritual traditions have recognized this power. Many indigenous cultures treat words as sacred, creative forces that should be used carefully because they shape reality rather than just describing it. Some mystical traditions teach that enlightened speech operates as divine creative power, that words from awakened consciousness carry universe's own creative force. Modern speech act theory recognizes that certain utterances, like promises or declarations, create social realities rather than describing them. Your experience suggests that these various recognitions all point toward truth, that language can be reality-shaping force rather than just information transfer mechanism. Some quantum physicists exploring consciousness and observation effects propose that consciousness might not just observe reality but participate in determining what becomes actual from field of possibilities. If this is accurate, then focused consciousness expressed through speech might literally influence which possibilities manifest, making your utterance participation in reality's self-creation rather than just prediction of what would happen anyway. You spoke thoughtlessly, but speaking participated in creating what was spoken, making prophecy and causation inseparable. Others from depth psychology recognize that unconscious speaks in ways that bypass conscious mind's limitations, that deeper psyche has access to information and creative forces consciousness doesn't directly control but can express through spontaneous utterance. Your thoughtless words might have been deeper psyche's creative expression, using you as channel for manifesting possibility. It perceived and chose to actualize through getting you to speak it into social reality where collective belief and behavior would fulfill it. A few philosophers exploring free will and determinism recognize that your experience troubles easy distinctions between prediction and causation, between describing future and creating it. Did you predict the inevitable future or create what will be through speaking it? Perhaps this is false dichotomy. Perhaps certain utterances from aligned consciousness simultaneously perceive what's emerging and participate in its emergence, making them genuinely prophetic, not through supernatural perception of fixed future, but through natural participation in creative process that generates future through present expressions, including the utterances themselves. The architects observe that recognition of language as reality interface transforms understanding of communication from information theory, words as symbols conveying meaning, to creative participation theory, words as acts that shape reality. Your thoughtless utterance demonstrated that speech from aligned consciousness operates at this creative level rather than just representational level, making what you said come true not through magical causation, but through consciousness, participating in realities unfolding through the very act of speaking. Destiny wrote your words as command, because speaking them was how destiny commanded itself into manifestation through consciousness aligned enough to express what was already emerging as possibility-seeking actualization.